We're gonna get a thing today. All right. Let's slide on out the way. I think it's 5:30. Almost. And it is 5:30. We're gonna get this party started here momentarily. You hear the landscapers in the background. It is the day for the golf course held by my house to be landscaped. We're going to start with some emotional regulation. Just 3 deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale on my count of 3, 2, 1. Then we'll get this neural party started. 3, 2, 1. All right, coming back in frame. Good morning, Envy. Good morning, Happy. Good morning, Jared again. All right. I am Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout. Today's topic is Winging It Wednesday. Winging It Wednesday. This live is sponsored by the Elements. Good morning, Daisy. H2O, yes. And so throughout the live, I'm going to say, drink water. And then you're going to take some water, not a whole bottle of water, but just some water to keep that wonderful, amazing brain hydrated as you learn and grow. And potentially, Hebb's Law, create new neurons that are firing and are wiring. Now, this topic today came from I like to do things on Wednesday that rhyme, that have alliteration. Wire Wednesday, Workout Wednesday, What If Wednesday, Winging It Wednesday is today. So I was sitting at my desk yesterday and I thought, well, what would be a good topic today? Okay, go ahead, Envy. What would be a good topic today? And I said, winging it. I've heard people say, yeah, I'm going to just wing it. I'm going to just wing it. And people would argue that I do a good job of winging it, but I'm not really winging it. Because all day long, I'm thinking. All day long, I couldn't turn my brain off if I wanted to. So I'm updating my algorithm. So even when it appears that I'm winging it, because I have so much information, because I'm live now so many times, I have 5 communication certifications, it's very quickly for me. If I needed to put a 45-minute keynote together right now and go deliver it, I could. No problem. Put some suits, some shoes, a hair on, and go, bam, bada boom, bada bing. What's the thing? And I can talk for 45 minutes with factually based information. So I really don't wing it. But that's 52 years in with thousands and thousands of days of learning and growing and hundreds of books and creating and all of those things. So there's never a point when I am winging it. My question to you is, how often do you wing it? In a given week, do you find yourself winging it? I'm just throwing something together. I'm just that way. And as I said before, Captain Apple in Alpha Company 787th MP Battalion used to sit in staff meetings with his ignorant ass. Anyway, it only takes a minute. If you wait till the last minute, then it only takes a minute. And that was his philosophy. And we called them 8 up Alpha because they was toe up from the floor. The wrinkleless drill sergeants have a saying, unkempt, unshined boots, hats all, the covers all messed all up and everything. They look like a hot mess. So winging it Alpha. Rarely now is what Jared said. And so winging it is an acceptable practice here in the country in which I live in. And it's okay. It's okay to be disheveled, unkempt, throw some shit together, and everybody will just kind of figure it out. And that's what we have gotten to in this day and age because it takes too much. It's cognitive overload. Now, my personal opinion is the cognitive overload is come from too much screen time. So everything is being done for you. You can get your groceries delivered. You can get your car. If they will pick up your laundry, you can actually get people to come do mobile detailing. So everything comes to the house. You don't have to leave the house. If you're a remote worker, you really don't have to go anywhere. And so all those things take neural pathways. To drive yourself to an appointment, to walk to a bus stop, a public transportation, get on it, get to the thing. You can do telemedicine. So unless you have something really bad, you don't have to leave for anything. And because of that, your working memory isn't working. And then you find yourself winging it because of a lack of neural pathways. I wing it in the sense of having a plan but not preparing for the plan. I'm learning patience. I never liked winging things because it doesn't work. And you can always tell when someone winged it. If you needed heart surgery, would you like for the cardiothoracic surgeon to not have looked at any of the information and just come in and say, all right, let's open it up and see what we got? We'll figure it out when we get in there. No, they come and say, I looked at your MRI, I looked at your x-rays, I looked at your EKG, and here's what's happening, and here's the process, and it's going to take this long. They talk to the family. We're going to send somebody out when it's all said and done. You don't want the pilots winging it. You don't want farmers winging it. You don't want people making your car winging it, your food, your electricity. You don't want anybody else to wing it, but you can. And there are people working at all these organizations. And that's what I explain to everyday people about everyday leadership and everyday life is you have a responsibility too. The work that you do matters in the community in which you reside. So here is, and thank you for those who answer. That's a no for me, Doc. About not doing your job. I think that's what you're saying, Jared. So my definition of winging it is several bullet points. So you're acting without preparation, plan, or structure. And that's what Envy you just said. So you're acting without preparation, plan, or structure. And the 7 P's we had in the military: prior planning and preparation prevents piss poor performance. That's what you have to do. So why would you act without preparation, plan, or structure? I did, but it didn't work. Sorry for the delay. Had some connectivity issues on my side. Okay. So why would that happen? I'm glad you asked. Happy to be. Our life is as serious like a doctor's job for me. Yes, it is. I agree. So preparation, planning, and structure or systems you need to have working memory to do all those things. You need to have a highly functioning prefrontal cortex in order for that to take place, because that's where your planning, your decision making, your problem solving, all of that takes place in the executive function and the prefrontal cortex. So you can't get that done with a weak prefrontal cortex. So if you ever find yourself not planning, not preparing, and not having a why and a system or strategy, it's because you have a weak prefrontal cortex. Not only that, but when Nola first started in her business, you lack skill development and technical competence. So be technically competent is one of the 74 principles of real leadership on purpose, because when you are technically competent, guess what you could do? Prepare, plan, and have a system or structure. Jared said, I told my daughter prepare by making a list to calm down her amygdala. Good morning, Lola. Yes. So every time you calm down the amygdala and you have emotional regulation, you actually have access to the prefrontal cortex, and you prepare, plan, and have structure and organization. Envy said, this adds up for me. Been building my working memory. Exactly. That is how you can function day in and day out, and you can plan and you can strategize. And the more you challenge yourself, the more neurons you get. Hebb's law, wire fire. Now you have synaptic connections. Now you have neural pathways. So you have the ability to solve bigger problems. You have the ability to prepare better. You have the ability to perform better. You have the infrastructure. So if you think about it, if you're building something and basically building your life, as Happy just said, you can have a life that's the size of a 50,000 square foot mansion because of all the things that you built. Or you can have these tiny houses that look like shipping containers. And that's your life. Because it's like, yeah, this is what I can maintain. This is what I'm good. I couldn't plan. No, we got an outhouse. We don't have indoor plumbing. And that's what's taking place. So you just start winging it because you don't have the infrastructure to build something grandiose. Next it's a default behavior driven by avoidance or overconfidence rather than skills. There were times when Nola was overconfident for an appointment and it went left. But the more technically competent she became, the overconfidence went away, or you avoid it. Nope, I'm not doing that. And I tell people all the time, and Lola, you probably can attest to this too. when people say the contractor came. And there's a voice to the contractors. If you ever hire contractors to do work at your house and they don't know what they're doing, this is what it's going to sound like. Yeah, so what you got to do is I want to and then over here, what they get very, very loud because now they are making you afraid because they are afraid and they're not going to be able to do the work. And so as a result, winging it sounds like a do-over. Yes, it is a do-over in the making. And so they're, yeah, so what? And then on the knocking on, and they're knocking on the walls and they're talking extremely loud. Don't hire them because it's going to go left. It's going to go left. So somebody with a lot of overconfidence and bravado-ness, doesn't matter the gender, they are winging it because planning is quiet. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do this. It's like me when I used to have to do before I went out in the field, I'd have to brief my battalion commander, my company commander for what we were going to do. And so I'm looking at the map and I'm saying, here are the exercises, here's the timeline and everything that we're going to do because I know what I'm talking about. And when you don't know what you're talking about, you get very, very loud and you want to make it seem like you're competent, but you're actually not competent. Next is a temporary fix that gives the illusion of control, but often results in chaos. As Daisy said, it's going to be a do-over. So, yep, it's going to look like you know what you're talking about now. And the next thing you know, it's going to be shit show palooza because you didn't play the movie out. When you are planning, you're going to say, okay, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this. When Nola and I did those closets on Saturday, we had a plan. And then the unqualified tasker showed up. And then the person whose closet it was threw the sheet away in order for us to know where to put everything. Some things was 13 inches, some things was 21 inches. So we were, because of the technical competence, and we didn't come in without a strategy, we just started adjusting the strategy that was in place. Y'all saw the photos in the chat. And so that's what happens when you don't wing it. Now, the gentleman that showed up to help us was winging it. And it was very obvious he was tired, he was hungry, and he was exhausted and all of that because he thought, I'm going to just make a couple $100 right now, get this done, and get on back home to the family in time to watch CFP. No, that's not what happened. It was 12 hours because he winged it. So that's no brainer. Next, the opposite of intentionality. And we say all the time, don't do anything without a why. You got to be intentional even when you're having fun. So it's reaction instead of reflection. So when you start winging it, things are going to go left and you don't know why it's going left because you didn't have a strategy. So you just over here like, well, I don't even know what to look at, what's wrong because I don't have a strategy. I don't have a plan. This has no structure. I don't know what to do. So that's no brainer again. And so it's a habit that weakens the brain's executive systems and the personal accountability muscles. So every time you wing it, you weaken your prefrontal cortex. Every time you wing it, you are being personally unaccountable. Every time you do it, that means that you are not strengthening it. You're not taking the time to say, hold up, what's actually taking place? What's the best way for me to get this done? Because be the best is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And so when you are best, you're always looking for the best way to handle it. What's the best way for me to brush my teeth? What's the best way for me to floss my teeth? What's the best way for me to make up my bed? Everything that you do is your best effort, and you can't wing best. It's not going to happen. Never, ever, 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 ever. And then what feels like freedom in the moment costs you clarity in the future. So it's going to cost you clarity, credibility, and consistency in the long run. So it's like, yep, I'm just free. I'm doing this. I'm winging it. Everything is great and wonderful. And the next thing you know, it has cost you clarity, credibility, and consistency over time. Over time. I know a lot of people who wing it, and it is literally no brain, no. I had my TikTok live this morning, and today I was talking about someone told me yesterday, and I believe I covered it over here, that it's Dr. Ken Berning, I think that is, and Dr. Klitz, and they have this meat diet for the brain. And so what I told them, that person yesterday, and what I came back to clarify today, only they were on the live, is that trying to take a potion for your brain is never going to work. You need new neurons, not to wing it. You need new neurons to challenge yourself. Loudness plus overconfidence plus no strategy equals winging it, a weak prefrontal cortex. Yes, that is correct, Happy. Yes, ma'am. That is correct. And so what happens is with the 5.9 billion adults that are in the entire world is winging it is taking place every day. And so instead of going to the hippocampus bank of neurons and making withdrawals from the clerk there, the dentate gyrus, to challenge yourself, you say, I'm going to take this meat diet. I'm going to have this meat diet. I'm going to do the Atkins diet. I'm going to throw some blueberries in there, and I'm going to have some grilled salmon with some jasmine rice and some quinoa and some grilled asparagus. And then I'm going to go open up my business tomorrow. That's how it goes. Oh, I'm good. I got to take a test. You know what? Omega-3 vitamins and some magnesium. I'm about to pass the bar exam. And some states don't have it anymore. I'm going to go ahead and take the GRE. Yep, what'd you have? Shit, I ate 6 blueberries. I'm about to be a doctor. They got this brain support, brain boost supplements at Sprouts. I just took the whole bottle. Neuroscientists in the making, baby. I'm about to go do this. Just start calling me doc because I took these supplements. Winging it. That is not going to work. It is not going to work. The only thing that works is new neurons. Hebb's law only works if neurons fire and wire and you challenge yourself. That's the only way you're going to stop winging it. And I have some other things, but overall, winging it doesn't work. Winging it doesn't work long term. And the more you wing it, the weaker your prefrontal cortex becomes, and the weaker your personal accountability becomes. And now you create more emotional dysregulation. And now, because you winged it, now you feel bad, you feel embarrassed, so you're going to add a piece of armor to your emotional armor, and now you really ain't about to do nothing. Stay safe and stay the same. See how that works? No, see, remember that time we tried it? You mean, remember that time you winged it and it didn't work? Is that the time that you're talking about? The 12 times that you winged it and it didn't work? Now you're saying starting a business don't work when you never even did a business plan. You don't even know what a SWOT analysis is, an executive summary, or anything else. When you never went to Toastmasters to learn how to present yourself, you didn't take any type of communication to pitch it. You don't have an elevator pitch. You don't have nothing at all. You can't even introduce yourself. You don't have a website. You had a concept of a plan. You even have a link tree. And now you over here talking about it don't work. So now you got emotional damage and you are now emotionally dysregulated. So you got on emotional armor. That's what you're talking about. You put yourself in that precarious situation and now you good. And now you just going to stay over here at your job that's 9 to 5 and come home and talk shit about everybody else with your emotional armor on. See how that plays out? See how that works? Let me go ahead and make that a highlight. Hopefully it catches all of that. So that's what winging it does. Winging it weakens you. And then you keep doing it and then you say nothing works. And then you say, yeah, well, let me go ahead and take a supplement. Oh, yeah, because I'm ready to do something. I'm ready to go back to school to get my degrees. So let me go get some brain boost from Sprouts. Go in the vitamin shop and spend $150 on brain boost supplements. And you failed the first semester because you didn't actually read and do the work. And now school don't work either. You said, what now? School don't work. I tried that. You know what I'm saying? I tried that. I went to that and I used to teach business strategy series. I went to Dr. Donna's business strategy series, her and Shondell in the city of Las Vegas, the Urban Chamber. Yeah, that didn't work. Did you do the work? When she followed back up with you in 90 days for your one marketing, your one business idea that you were supposed to be working on that you left with 90 days, did you do that? Did you do that? No, I didn't do that, but did you prepare your business to be contract ready? No, I didn't do that. Okay, cool. So how is that anybody else's fault? Because you didn't create the neural pathways. You didn't become the person that you needed to be in order for that to work out for you. You have a weak prefrontal cortex. You have a weak personal accountability agenda every single day. I'm not going to be personally accountable. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to learn that. I'm not going to do that. And then you wing it and it goes left. And then you put on some more emotional armor. Yep. Okay. Well, what are the top 3 regions neurologically that people choose to wing it? And here's what it is. When people wing it, that behavior is not random. It reflects how specific brain regions prioritize speed, emotion, or comfort over structure, strategy, and reflection. So here are the top 3 neurological reasons why. Number 1, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Amygdala, emotional override center. So the role is it detects the threat, novelty, or pressure. And so here's the effect. When a situation feels uncertain or urgent, the amygdala hijacks the brain's control system, prompting impulsive action to relieve discomfort or fear of failure. So the result is people react instead of plan, and confusion action for progress. So something is taking place, and instead of you saying, hold up, let me see what's happening, the amygdala says, no, act, go ahead. And then it goes left. And it's like, shit. Okay, well, you know what? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We just put some armor on. Just put some armor on. That's all good. And so that plan, that dumbass plan, that's a technical term that I developed. It's called a dumbass plan. When you engage in that dumbass plan and you pursue it and it doesn't work, now you say, yeah, so what we did was, you know what I'm saying, we was over here. And so, yeah, we ran the wire all around the such and such. And now, because you did something, your brain thinks you did a good thing, but it wasn't progress because it was off the cuff, all willy-nilly. And the next thing you want is credit because you were in a hijacked amygdala state, cortisol all in your brain fog, and now you did something and you want credit for it, for winging it. Next is, of course, the comfort cousin, the basal ganglia. And so the basal ganglia is habit and comfort circuit. So the role is it automates routines and seeks patterns of least resistance. And I actually had the path of least resistance the other day for the PA and the personal accountability as well as the real leader brain. So the basal ganglia is like, yeah, go ahead. No, man, don't do that. Just take that shortcut over there. Just take that. Listen, you do not have to spend 6 weeks studying for the LSAT. Go to Sprouts, get that brain boost, party hard like a rock star, and then just take the test. You can relax. You already know this. You got enough cousins in jail that you helped get out. You don't even really need law school. This is just semantics. You know what I'm saying? This ain't nothing big at all. Go ahead. You'll be able to take that LSAT, no problem. And then it goes left. Man, them tests, the standardized test, see what I'm saying is the test is culturally biased. That's what's happening over there. They're trying to keep you down. They're trying to keep you down. That's what it is. That's what's happening. Why they have all them questions on that test. Them questions didn't even make sense. They ain't had nothing to do with the law. Okay. So the effect is if someone's comfort loop includes figuring it out on the fly, the basal ganglia reinforces that shortcut each time it works. Wait for it. Just enough. Good enough never is. Just enough. It's doing just enough. People going to the job doing just enough not to get fired. Not to get fired. So the result is winging it becomes a habit, not a strategy. And because the brain rewards the familiar feeling of control, even when the outcomes are inconsistent. So you just gonna do just enough. That was it. That was good. That was good. Pay me. We run into taskers all the time, half-ass doing jobs, ain't got a vacuum, leaving boxes and styrofoam and everything else, asking for cash instead of getting paid through the app, and they want a 5-star review. People are like, okay, I got to move all my furniture back. You got drywall all over everything, styrofoam flying through the fucking air. And you want what? You want what? People are like safe auto, bare minimum coverage. Yep, that's what's happening. That is what's taking place. And then finally, the prefrontal cortex, the executive control system. So the role is responsible for planning, foresight, and your working memory. The effect is when it's tired, it's stressed, or understimulated, the prefrontal cortex executive function goes offline. Remember back in the day we had AOL, you just had to plug it in. If somebody used the phone while you was trying to log on, that shit was done. It's going offline. And the brain defers to emotional or habitual systems, the amygdala or the basal ganglia. So that means when your brain is stressed, it can't think straight. And so now it's overly emotional, or the basal ganglia is like, man, we didn't really want that job anyway. Fuck them. Let's go to the bar and turn up. Let's take a nap. You know what? Let's just go get a red velvet cupcake and we'll figure this out tomorrow. And tomorrow turns into 10 days later. So when you have this stress, now you're going to do autopilot shit. And that's going to make the situation even worse. So the result is the brain chooses quick certainty over deliberate deliberate clarity, rationalizing, I'll figure it out later. I figure it out later then turned into 15 years. I figure it out later turned into never. Because I figure it out later is not a date or time at any point in the future. I will figure this out by tomorrow at 4 o'clock p.m. I will figure this out by the end of the month. I will figure this out by the end of the quarter, December 31st, 2025. Now you have a date, and then you set reminders, and you spend the rest of the year working on why it's not working. But that doesn't happen, and then you end up in this existence, and then you start blaming everybody else. I love to hear, no, I don't, people excuse a lie. And so excuse a lying is basically excuses wrapped up in reasons and lying so the person can feel good about their dumbass plan and their poor choices and their hijacked amygdalas and emotional dysregulation. Yeah, so see what happened at the job was, and then all of a sudden I got fired for some nonsense, some bullshit, some fucked up shit, but I ain't do shit wrong. What was it? Attendance? Attendance. You got fired for attendance? That's real cut and dry. either you clocked in or you didn't clock in. You was there or you wasn't there. You was on time or you was late. Yeah, but they go late, like 1 minute late. I mean, really, it was a minute. It was a minute, Doc. Let me tell you, that's all it was. But no. And then safety. What'd you do? Man, I hit the side of the building and the forklift almost blew up. You said what now? You you did what? Man, I lost $500,000 and they gonna blame me and talk about, but in the training, they said, Roger that. And so on and so forth, winging it. What I see recently is I have had the experience of being at my daughter's appointments, and I see parents winging it. I had the privilege of watching a couple. They had 5 children, 4 boys and 1 girl, and they had dinner at the dinner table. They called each individual child down at one time. The children ranged from middle school to a toddler. They fed each child, fixed their plate. The child sat there. The oldest had earbuds in his ear. And once they had their terrible dinner of, I think, chicken fingers and French fries, the father made fried chicken and had a separate meal. When he finished everybody's plate, and the NFL, whatever it is, Sunday Night Football was on, because we 3 hours behind, Dad got a glass of wine and sat on the couch and finished watching the game while the boys sat at the table. The daughter got fed first, and then Mom was cleaning up the kitchen. Now, the narrative is going to be 10 years from now. We had dinner every night with the boys. We don't know what's wrong with them. And the boys didn't really like the dinner because while we were there doing 4 desks in a kitchen for the daughter, they kept coming back to the kitchen after they all showered and bathed and kept getting snacks. Now, the one son kept trying to engage with the father, so much so that he likes golf, but he is talking to the father about football because that's the only thing that the dad cares about. If you don't like football, nobody is talking to you. And so these children are going to grow up, not want to come dinner at the table every night. Yes. But they're a family of 7, and they had 2 dining room tables and 2 separate rooms with 4 chairs. Nobody talked. Nobody said, how was your day? Nobody did roses and thorns, none of those things. But they had a somewhat dinner, living in a nice house and everything, and the gaming systems and all of that, and, got their shit and stuff. And that's it. And so parents get to have this narrative, even though they're winging it, they're going to say, we did everything right. We don't know what happened. I had a very strategic plan from the time Nola was planned up till today. So there's still a strategy for her. I'm not winging shit. People will tell me all the time, oh my God, every now and then they'll say, good job, mommy. Good job, mommy. But most of the time they say, damn, you just lucky. You so, the fuck? Anybody with a child with mental illness, then the child is performing at high functioning. You are not lucky. You are not lucky at all because that brain is braining. But this winging it. So they had an idea and a concept of a plan of what it was going to mean for them to be parents, not giving the child what they need. You have to become the parent that child needs in order for that child's needs to be met. And the narrative 10 years from now is going to be, we did everything right. We don't know what the problem is. That's a lot of people being trained to wing it. Just eating together like co-workers on break or something. Been there. Yes. So not talking, and the fact that they didn't say, boys, come on down. dinner's ready, but an individual call says that you are not a nucleus family. You are not raising them to be a team and a unit. And it's going to be, and you could tell which parent had their favorite child and all of that. And so they're winging it. And most parents are. And what is happening is because it's harder to have those conversations while they're there. It's harder to be interested in something that your child is not. So it's like, well, if you want to talk to me, you're going to talk about what I want to talk about, comfort. My daughter's business ain't got shit to do with anything I ever knew how to do. But I'm there making sure that she became her best and figuring it out because that's what she wanted to do. That's what she is good at. And so all of this nurturing, developing all the things that she wanted to do, she wanted to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Hey, here's how you got to get your Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and all these other things. So that's for her. But what happens is it's easier for everybody to do it my way. I'm the one that's running things. I'm paying for everything. I'm gonna be comfortable and y'all gonna be discomforted. And it happens at work, it happens in organizations, it happens everywhere. There isn't a growth and development. And now, because the person that's responsible for being in charge is winging it too, this shit is not best. It's not personally accountable. And you're like, shit, I don't know what's gonna happen. We're just gonna get there and it's probably gonna be this. It's still kind of unpredictable because the person is winging it. You all do not come on this live every morning and say, she gonna be on time? Is she gonna have something to say, or is she gonna be just asking us stuff? Is she gonna get up 5 times because she forgot some shit? What's actually gonna happen? Because I'm not winging it. I'm not. January 2024 is when I realized I went live on November 3rd or 4th of 2023. I was figuring things out. By January 2028, I gotta check my notebook. I had an agenda. And I've been having an agenda ever doggone since for the morning live. And it has changed, but there is still a method, a topic, and a theory to all of this madness every single day. That's what's happening. So in summary, winging happens when the amygdala overreacts, the basal ganglia repeats, and the prefrontal cortex retreats. You got that? Overreaction in the amygdala, repeating in the basal ganglia, and retreating in the prefrontal cortex. So it's not just a personality flaw. It's, one second, gotta love my sinusitis. It's a neurological imbalance between emotion, habit, and logic. It's neurological. Winging it is not behavioral, it's neurological. It just shows up as behavioral. It just looks like, damn, they just really ain't got their shit together. But it is happening inside of the brain every single day. Every single day, some part is being winged. Some part. And as we transition to the final thing for today, before we get to the brain bit, drink water. Drink water! Not a whole bottle. See, I still got my bottle. I didn't see y'all type drink water. Is there something wrong with my chat? Drink water. Do I have to? Did YouTube stop? Let me go in here and see. It's been a minute since it happened. Let's see. Yep. Fucking YouTube. Give me a second. Dinner at the table every night. And that's a lot of people being trained to wing it. Just eating together, right? Yeah, drink water, drink water, drink water. Yep, I don't see them. So I got to do this. I got to go back and forth. I see 3 of them. Drink water, drink water. Okay. Let me now go back into chat. Okay, I see them now. Sometimes this happens and now I have to go and see them on my tablet. I do see them now. Okay, great. So the final section for today, before we get to the brain bit, is this. How do you stop winging it? And I'm glad you asked, Envy. So you have to re-engage the prefrontal cortex. You got to plan, don't panic. Plan, don't panic. So you should start panicking, Amy and Lala and basal ganglia going to take over. So the prefrontal cortex is your brain's executive system, and it plans, prioritizes, and predicts outcome. When you wing it, your PFC goes offline under stress. So here's how you activate it. Write down the next 3 steps before you act. Writing engages your working memory and slows impulsivity. So if you feel that the insulin stuff, oh, wait, hold on, no, sorry, gotta take time out. I'm gonna write down the next 3 things that I'm getting ready to do. Now you are back in your prefrontal cortex. Use mental travel time. So imagine the outcome before starting. This re-engages foresight and problem-solving circuits. And practice pause, plan, proceed. A 10-second delay that strengthens the prefrontal cortex over the amygdala. Remember, 10 significant seconds of silence is also going to calm you down. So you're going to sit there and go, okay, hold up. I got this. I can solve this problem. You can count to 10, and you're going to write down the next 3 steps. Next, you got to calm the amygdala. Emotion before execution. So before you can execute, Amy and Lala got to be taking a nap. So the amygdala triggers urgency and overreaction, and when you feel pressure leading to rash decisions, automatic, knee-jerk reaction is what we used to call it at Frito-Lay. And so how to regulate it? You use slow diaphragm breathing to lower cortisol and bring oxygen back to the prefrontal cortex. So you're going to just do some slow breaths. Breathe it. Sometimes they say do the box breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, release for 4, and then stop and pause. Or you could do the 8-7-6 method. But any regulated breathing will help you. So you're going to label your emotion out loud. I feel rushed. I feel uncertain. I feel incompetent. I feel afraid. And by naming this, you decrease the activation by up to 40%. We talked about that yesterday, doing that when we were talking about your emotional armor. And then you reframe pressure as preparation fuel. The brain shifts from fear circuits to challenge circuits. And today, Real Leader Brain and PA the topic is reframing. So that's what you're going to say. I'm not going to use this fear. I'm not going to let this fear use me. I'm going to use this as fuel for me to prepare in order for me to not wing it. And then number 3, you're going to retrain the basal ganglia. So you're going to replace habits, don't resist them. So the basal ganglia automates whatever you repeat, even winging it. So if you become a repeat offender of winging it, the basal ganglia is going to say, I feel like, okay, time to wing it. Time to wing it. Or to institute the winging, DAP, the dumbass plan. So you create micro routines. 5-minute pre-task rituals so your brain has a reliable startup script. You reward completion, not perfection. So dopamine strengthens consistency and intentional habits. So you're not going to say, I completed the whole thing. Now I can get a release of dopamine in the nucleus accumbens. You're going to celebrate your small wins. And so you repeat your pre-planning steps at the same time each day. Repetition rewires the basal ganglia for preparation instead of panic. So I'll use Nola's business as an example. When Nola was still working through her systems that I developed for her, here's what happens. A task comes in, and now she sends the people the questions. The people answer the questions, or she accepts the task. Then the task comes in, she presents the questions, she gets the answers to the questions, she puts the on the calendar, and then the day before the appointment, now she's saying, this is what we're getting ready to do. She shows me pictures, she shows me links, and then she puts the address on Post-its. We then take the Post-its, get to the appointments. Before we leave to go to the appointment, we're telling people that we're on the way. Then when we get there, she goes in, looks to see what happens. She comes back. She tells me what to do. We go in, do the work. Thank you very much. Clean everything up, get back in the car. Invoice is sent, whether it's a simple appointment that came through Yelp or website or TaskRabbit. That's how it goes. But it is that pre-meeting. Because we kept getting to appointments and shit kept getting fucked up. We didn't know what it was. And so we had a policy in place. If you do not send pictures, we do not come. If you do not give us all the information, you don't answer all the questions, she calls, she sends a text, then she calls, and it could be an hour before the appointment. Hey, I don't have the pictures. You didn't send me the gate code. What is it? Or we're canceling the appointment out. Because too many times we ended up with winging it clients. And if they don't send pictures, we know it's really fucked up because we have not had pictures gone and they didn't try to put it together and it's looking like the Leaning Tower of Pisa and everything else. So we had to, and I had to get her to understand you are a 5-star elite independent contractor. And so they need to be 5-star clients if they want you to come. It's not, she a 5-star, we a 1-star. And because we paying money, because people think because they paying money, they're owed something. No, you got to do the work too. And if you can't answer these questions, then we know we're not coming because you're going to be a problem. If you don't want to send photos, you're going to be a problem. You don't want to send links. You don't want to send gate codes. You don't want an assistant to come. Okay, cool. You need a different person to come and get this done for you. So that pre-work before we get to the appointment ensures that the least amount of winging it will not be on our part, definitely, but definitely will be on their part. So when Nola skips one of those steps, now there's some winging it. Where do we park? Are they coming down? Is there a key fob? So then that's when I go, there's a system in place for this. This didn't have to happen. So you missed a step, and now looks what's taking place. So that's what's happening. So in summary, to stop winging it, your brain needs to plan with the PFC, pause with the amygdala, and practice with the basal ganglia. When you do this, you turn winging it into winning through neural preparation and not improvisation. So I'm going to slide out the way so y'all can see that. So this is what's happening right here when you're winging it. And then this is what's happening when you turn from winging it to winning it. And now let me look on YouTube to see what y'all have said. Okay, we are hearing every word you're saying. Write down the next 3 things. Visualize the outcome. 10 significant seconds of silence. Put Amy and Lala to bed. Repetition is the key. Yes. So when you are not winging it, that's why I can go and do a 45-minute keynote with no problem, is because my basal ganglia is trained on repetition of not winning. I'm trained to do something at an excellent standard. If I didn't want to do something at an excellent standard, I couldn't even do it. It would be like, nope. You still got to do it at an excellent standard. You don't have to do it again, but you got to finish this thing that you said you were going to do. Prepping stops you from winging it. That is correct. All right. So the final thing that we have for today is the brain bit for today is your brain as a television. Yeah. So when you think of your brain as a television, here you are. Your brain is like a television because it's constantly playing what you've tuned into. You said what, Doc? Yeah. So your brain is constantly playing what you tuned into. So if you tune into a bunch of negativity, a bunch of neurotoxicity, and all of that, when you're in your default mode network time, it's going to be ruminating. It's going to be reminding you negativity, bias, and all of that toxicity. That's what's going to be in your head. If, however, you are thinking positive, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership, and you are growing and learning and developing, like yesterday inside the chat was what Nola had, what was your favorite song from the 80s? And then there was all this the conversation going back and forth. And then Sean, who's not on here today, showed the piece of wood that she got from the tree that was 75 feet in the air and the clock that she's going to make. So then it was, well, what are you going to do with this? And all of that, that plays in your head later in the day too. So whatever you are constantly tuning into is constantly showing up here. If you tune into fear, doubt, or negativity, then that shows up and it runs on repeat. And if you keep doing it, the basal ganglia says, hey, we didn't get our negativity today. Hey, why you ain't go read the newspaper? Why didn't you watch the news? Why didn't you go on TikTok and look at all the political shit that's going on in America and get mad at that shit? What's wrong with you? What's happening with that? You taking a nap? You reading a book? No, don't read the book. We got to go find out what the hell is happening. This is what's happening. Why you not watching college football? Why you not watching football? What you mean you gonna go get 10,000 steps in, 12,000 steps? No, that ain't what we do. No, sit your ass down. That's what's happening when you are wired for negativity bias. But when you are wired for neural clarity, you have a different picture showing up on your television. So when you change the channel to focus on growth, gratitude, and goals, your brain broadcast becomes a completely different reality. You said what, Doc? Your brain broadcast becomes a completely different reality. So where do you have a completely different reality on broadcast on the screen daily? Daily. Let me make this bigger. Where is that happening at? You have a broadcast that's different daily. You change the channel on social media to a different broadcast. The broadcast channel's on Instagram. You mean it's connected, Dr. Donna? Oh shit. So you're saying I change what I'm seeing on my broadcast. By going to the broadcast channels on Instagram, you're changing what you're doing. You're literally changing what it is that you are doing. You are. So the key is you are both the viewer and the producer. You're the viewer and the producer. So choose your programming wisely because your brain becomes what it watches. Your brain becomes what it watches. And that's this slide right here. This, not slide, but this graphic right here. So you're the programmer and the viewer. You are putting it in, viewing it, and then programming it to come back out. That's what you're doing. Every time you're watching TV and you're watching the screen, you are viewing it, programming it, and putting it back out there into the world. So how does that make you feel? All right. Happy to be me. Since I am new, my mind has been asking me, why am I not doing my comfort things anymore? I forgot about them being busy with you guys. See? There you go. There you go. Thank you for that. So that's what's happening. You programmed, you watched a bunch of negativity, bias, nonsense, neurotoxicity, and that's what keeps coming out. And you change the channel. Someone asked yesterday on TikTok, why does it have to be on Instagram? I said, because everybody hates Instagram right now. It's only a couple people that like Instagram. And so everybody wants to be on TikTok because TikTok is fun, it's comfortable, it's everything. You get to access it all. Okay, cool. Got it. Taking your binky away. And now you're going to have to go on Instagram. Changing the channel. Changing the channel. All right. Now, we are coming to a close. Wait, Nola said broadcast channels feel good with the interactions. Exactly, and the engagement. And what you put into it is what you take out of it. Because some people, watch this, some people are on a broadcast channel and they're just being viewers and not changing the programming. So they're watching it, and then that's it. Because that's what they was doing somewhere else. And so it's not working. Because you have to be a viewer and a programmer. You got to take it in, process it, and put something else different out there. All right. Let's go, Happy. Right. Jared has said, let's go, Happy. Very good. Okay, so the 3 questions on the table today are, what did you learn today? What did you learn about yourself? And what was your brain conversation for today? What did you learn today? What did you learn about yourself? And what was your brain conversation for today? And as you answer those questions, drink water. I spelled the man's name wrong. I can't. Ben Ray? Hopefully it shows up with this other one. Yes, you are the programmers. So you are the viewer and the program because you are taking it. So let's say, remember when I realized that watching crime shows and listening to gospel music was satisfying Amy and Lala. So in watching all of those crime show programs, I found myself looking for crime. I found myself saying, this is what happened and this is this. And now I do it a little bit more just because I'm from the hood and I'm an MP, but nowhere near as much as I was doing it before. So I viewed it. And then my programming became crime. Let me solve this. And that wasn't boding well for me. So yes, you taking it, you're changing the channel. And now you are setting a different program for your brain as a result of that. So you are the viewer and the programming. And then people are looking at you to see what it is that you're doing. And so you can say, I changed the channel. Say, you look different. What happened? You lose some weight, Jared? Yeah, man, I lost 5 pounds. I'm over here playing pickleball and walking and doing some other stuff too. I gotta get down so I can be at my right BMI. Man, what made you change that? I started using my brain. I got off of emotional dysregulation and became emotional regulation. I started using my prefrontal cortex because that's where all the magic happens. All right. Envy said, I learned today that winging it is a reaction from the amygdala, the dentate gyrus, it's from and a weak prefrontal cortex. It's from the basal ganglia. It's the basal ganglia. The dentate gyrus is actually where you get your new neurons at in the hippocampus when you're challenging yourself. So it's the amygdala, the basal ganglia, and a weak prefrontal cortex. Emmy said, I learned about myself that I can make better plans and have better outcomes by continually to build my working memory. Yes, so you do not have to wing it. That does not have to be your reality. Jerry said, I learned that we control the remote to our brain. Yeah, I like that, Jerry, for you. Yes. We need to watch what we are feeding it. Yes, basal ganglia, I see. The comfort twin. So it is the terrified twins and the comfort cousin. So the terrified twins are Amy and Lala, and then the comfort cousin is the basal ganglia, trying to look for shortcuts. Nola said, I learned about myself. I did not like how winging it felt, but used a system due to poor planning. But used as a system due to poor planning. Yes. And so that's your dumbass planning. That's what's happening. Is that dumbass plan is showing up, and the basal ganglia is like, institute dumbass plan. Shh. Activate it. All right. Happy said, learning from all of you guys. I hear and see you all. Thanks to Dr. Donna and our group. My channel happily has been changed. Thanks again, you guys. I'm so on the right path. You are most welcome, Happy, and we are happy that you are here. And the terrified twins and the comfort cousin, amygdala and the basal ganglia. Yes. And that's when they are being dysregulated. But when they are acting as they want to, as they are designed to, then it's just the almond twins. When they're just acting normal, and the basal ganglia is the courageous cousin at that time. So they can switch. But because of the negativity, you have to recognize that and say, oh, I see the terrified twins and the comfort cousin have showed up because I am winging it right now. This is a dumbass plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to 10 significant seconds of silence and calm down, and I'm going to write down my next 3 steps, and I'm going to start breathing. And I'm going to let the basal ganglia know that this new neural pathway that we are creating is we are going to have emotional regulation. We are going to hold ourselves personally accountable, and we are strengthening our prefrontal cortex. So that's going to take more effort. It's going to take more time and sweat equity. However, it is the business. It's what actually is going to work. All right. And Daisy said, am now understanding how my brain works so I can better perform. Nola said, my conversation about my brain is a new strategy from chat on being a research assistant. Yes, ma'am. That is your brain conversation. So what was your brain conversation yesterday? And the reason why you're having brain conversations with people is you are planting neuron seeds for people so that you are opening the door to continue to have brain conversations so people can start to say, well, dang, you know what? I was thinking about this the other day. Remember, what's that thing you called it when you said that I was being emotional? Would you call it the amygdalas? What are those? And so you are literally just one plants, one waters, and the increase comes from that own individual person. That's how it works. Envy said, my brain conversation was with myself about my working memory. When I was at clinicals yesterday, I was noticing how actions are simpler to remember than words and such. Yes. And it's how you learn information. And then the one thing that I would say, Envy, is once you learn how you learn, then you learn that way. And I didn't learn the way the educators from my life were teaching. And so I would have to go home and do extra work. But when you understand, I got to write it down. And now I have to be able to type it up and I got to read it. Even if it's a picture, I still need the words for me to understand what it actually is. So that's how that goes. So in general, here's what I will say, ladies and gentlemen, as I said on the TikTok live that I'm saying here. There is no motivation potion that will create new neurons. There is no supplement. There is no pill. There is no operation that you can take that will create new neurons to give you the ability to use Hebb's law of firewire, create those synaptic connections that create those neural pathways. You actually have to do the neurological work. And now you know what's stopping you from doing the neurological work. The terrified twins and the comfort cousin are saying, you're doing too much. And then you throw on your emotional armor and you can't be flexible, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So you will never have a whole brain experience. Your prefrontal cortex will never be strong and it will never be emotionally regulated as long as Amy and Lala, the terrified twins, and the basal ganglia, the comfort cousin, are talking you into bad habits and to keep using those bad habits. It's not going to work. The only thing that is going to change your brain, the neuroplasticity that you hear everybody talking about, is through new challenges. That's it. That's it. Jared has been reading books prior to him coming back. No change. Because you just read the book and you process it. You've still got your armor on. The basal ganglia, the hippocampus is like, all right, thank you for that information. Where the comfort at? Where the comfort reside? Where the comfort reside? And so nothing is changing. And so you feel like it's just like when people are eating these supplements. And I'm not saying don't take the supplements. I'm saying don't take the supplements as a alternative to neural pathway creation. You could do both, but you can't do the neural pathway creation. Don't do that part and just take the supplement and think something is going to change, because it's not, and you're not going to know why. You're going to be telling yourself, this, I feel better, I feel better, I feel better. And then a problem shows up, emotional armor is put on, and you don't deal with it. And then you still talking about you feel better. And it's like, well, why won't you release the stress of this problem? Why won't you cry? Why won't you tell the truth? Why won't you be honest, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership? And none of that is occurring. Jared said, you got to do the work to create new neurons to get to the comfort zone. Exactly. To get out. Yeah. To get to it and get out of it. To dismantle that motherfucker, you need a doggone sledgehammer. So no amount of berries and supplements and omega-3s or anything else. Yes. Where the comfort at? You got to go to it and say, we're not doing this anymore. I want to be better. I want to be a bad mofo. I want to be the best I could be. And you can't do that with emotional dysregulation. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I don't care how much you try to take. I don't care. Eating, digesting is not processing and programming. Is not going to occur no matter what you do. I don't care what medical doctor told you that by itself, it's not enough. Challenging yourself, learning and growing and developing, increasing your work and memory as NB indicated. And as Jared is saying, with Jared did not think he could read a book, and he had a goal of 2 books a month. And I said, no. He go to plan to read a book in 7 days. You can do a book a week, but you're not doing 2 books in a month. It's 31 days in a month. Hell no, that's not enough. That is not enough. Your working memory needs to be fully functioning at this very, very high level. And it's not going to do that with you kind of taking baby steps. Well, we're going to read 2 pages every day. We're going to get a book read a month. That's not what he said, but that's what people think. I read a book a month. It's not changing shit. Because the programming. So if you think about the screen time that's taking place, let's just play this out. One person is reading a book a month. And they're spending an envy. I'm going to use you as the example. We ran your numbers. You were spending 2 months a year on social media. And you're reading a book a month. A book a month. And so in your 4 hours every day on social media, you're reading for 10 minutes a day. That 4 hours on social media is going to weaken the prefrontal cortex. It's going to make Amy and Lala very terrified, and the basal ganglia is going to be comfortable. And so the habit is I read for 10 minutes. I don't apply what I read. I don't remember what I read, but I read for 15 minutes and then I go do my programming. I go watch television. I go watch a screen. What you think coming out your mouth as soon as you get stressed? Because that's the missing link to the supplements and stuff. Soon as you get stressed, what's going to happen in an emotionally dysregulated brain? Amy and Lala and the basal ganglia are going to go into DAP mode. And they're going to start doing dumb shit and saying dumb shit. So the supplements aren't going to work at that point. It's not going to matter. And you said change versus, yes, chisel versus sledgehammer. Exactly. That's the issue that I have with people talking about these supplements. Because you're going back to your default mode as soon as you get stressed. And if your default mode isn't 10 seconds of silence, let me write down the next 3 things that I got to do, sit on my hands, calm down, get this cortisol out of my brain, then omega-3 ain't gonna work. Salmon, blueberries, none of that shit. Whatever it is, brain boost power is not going to work because you don't know how your brain functions. The only thing that works is understanding how your brain functions, strengthening your prefrontal cortex to the point where when something takes place, a growth opportunity, a stressful situation, or whatever, you don't take a mental health day. You take 10 seconds of silence and get your ass back on track and start executing a strategy. And oh, by the way, if you always start with a why and a strategy, now you're just assessing the strategy that's already there. So you're not saying, because a dumbass plan, you don't know what step went wrong. Well, with a strategy, with Nola now, when we realized that tasker didn't know what he was doing, and then I realized when she threw the paper away, I was like, shit, I know where the stuff's supposed to go. Let me take a picture of this and ask ChatGPT. Boom, closet done. So I would have been going in circles. That is correct, Jared. Thanks for helping me save my money with those non-commercial statements. Yes, supplements. So you can use it as a supplement, as a replacement of things like protein. When you're working out, you go drink some more protein so you feed the muscles so the muscles can stay ripped and you're feeding them. So you can use them, but they are not a replacement for neurological strength. That's not going to happen. If you have an emotionally dysregulated system, it ain't going to matter. Because as soon as you get stressed, as soon as the problem comes, as soon as it's time to grow, you in default mode. And it is emotional armor, execute dumbass plan. And then you tell yourself, see, this shit didn't work. This is why I just stay in my comfort zone. Nope. None of that is true. None of that is true at all. So that is the difference. That is what I am saying. And that's why I keep challenging myself with the lives every day, because I get a little bit more information. I come back and give it and put it in a succinct message for you. And now you can process it and understand it at a very everyday level instead of speaking at this high ass level. And now you like, how does that work? That's why it's everyday leadership for everyday life, because I'm telling you how this works in everyday life and how you can apply it in your everyday life to strengthen what you do every single day. Not an event, not over here while I'm working on my degree or nothing. No, because today is October 8th, 2025. You can have an extraordinary October 8th, 2025. It is possible for you. Hold up, some stuff came in. Good evening, ma'am. I have done my vitamin D test and my level is 5.3H, which indicates severe deficiency. What I have to do, please reply. I'm not a medical doctor, so you need to go see your medical doctor. Check my screen time is only down 23%, but where I spent it is significantly improved. You don't say only down 23%, NV. Retype that. It is down 23%. Remove the only. It is down 23%. Great job, but take that only out. Word choice matters. Do not dismiss something that you had that was high. A 23% decrease is a 23% decrease. I am an educator, not a medical doctor. You need to go see your primary care physician. So retype that NV and take out that word only. As I've indicated, word choice matters. Still at around 4 hours, but within the past week, 2.5 hours is on KindMaster, IbSpent, and BandLab. It's down 23%. Because now, Envy, you have a strategy. So it's not a matter that it was 4 hours. It's what the 4 hours was doing. So I'm getting, basically, my phone will tell me I've been on lives and all that. So it counts all that, being on YouTube and stuff. But look what I'm doing on YouTube. Look what I'm doing on TikTok. Look what I'm doing, what I'm posting. So the 4 hours is the 4 hours, but now it's productivity and you can actually track what it is that you're actually doing. So that part, 4 hours before was mind wandering and daydreaming and just doom scrolling and all of that. And now it's productive time. That's the difference. So you went from having a dumbass plan to a strategy. Yes, 2.5 daily is art. And because that's where the work is. My work is online. So some of that is most of that. And not with me having no screen time. Yeah, that I'm not sitting there doom scrolling and looking at things that I don't need to be looking at because it doesn't bode well for my brain. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that we've had a very effective live today and that now you understand if you're going to take some supplements, it's got to have something to supplement. You cannot take the supplements and still strengthen your prefrontal cortex. But taking supplements and doing dumb shit is not going to strengthen your prefrontal cortex. Emotional regulation starts the process of you being able to strengthen your prefrontal cortex. Now you can go and use Hebb's law of firewire. Go to the hippocampus, the dentate gyrus, go ahead and say, hey, give me some neurons. I need to challenge myself. And every challenge is strengthening your working memory and your executive function so you can function at these very high, extremely high levels. So that is how it has to go in order for you to grow. All of that nonsense, that negativity bias, that neurotoxicity, all of that has to go away. And the only way it can is to strengthen your prefrontal cortex, emotional regulation, and challenge yourself on a daily basis. That happens on Instagram in the broadcast channels, $9.99 per month for your subscription in order for you to start getting your neural reps in throughout your day. Thank you very much for your time and space for yourself. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing, higher power in the universe, same time, same place, safe space, different brain t-shirt. You all go off and have a brain-tastic day. Take care.